So recently, Jordan Peterson came out with a book called The 12 Rules for Life. And in this video, you are going to learn what the ancient Stoic philosophers had to say about these 12 rules, what their 12 rules for living a good, virtuous, fulfilling, and incredible life would be, and then I'm going to throw in a bonus 13th rule. Now let's get on to rule number 1. Take a view from above. And put very simply, what this means is they recommended that you should view yourself occasionally as if you're looking at yourself from the third person. Imagine a camera that's looking at you from above. And what you do is you slowly zoom out. So at first you can see your room, then you can see your house, then your street, then your town, then your city, then your country, then the whole entire world. And by doing this, a few things are going to happen. First of all, it's going to put your life in perspective and remind you that the problems that you are having are very small and insignificant compared to the problems that the whole world are having. So stop dwelling on these small and insignificant problems. Next of all, it's going to let you know that other people are having the same problems as you. And if other people are having the same problems as you, then chances are other people have come to the same conclusion that you need, which means that the solution to your problem is out there. You've just got to find it. And finally, it's going to let you dissociate yourself from your emotions, and it'll let you have an objective view on life so that you can be more strategic with the decisions you make and more strategic with the actions that you take throughout your life. Rule number 2, love thy neighbor. Now I'm going to read you a Stoic quote that summarizes this idea perfectly, but put very, very simply, it's saying to love your neighbor even though they have flaws. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, and jealous. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood or birth, but the same mind, and possessing a share of the divine, and so none of them can hurt me. No one can implicate me in ugliness, nor can I feel angry at my relative or hate him. We were born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes, like the 2 rows of teeth, upper and lower. To obstruct each other is unnatural. To feel anger at someone, to turn your back on him, these are obstructions. And before we get into rule number 3, I'm going to release a video that's going to dissect everything that Jordan Peterson has to say on the philosophy of Stoicism, or at least the philosophy of Stoicism concepts, and I'll be releasing that video as soon as this video gets 500 likes, so make sure you go ahead and like this video. Rule number 3, if you believe life is short, check yourself. You see, the Stoic philosophers said that life is not short. No matter how many people around you say, oh, life is short or time is limited, in reality, we have got plenty times to live our life and live an incredible, fulfilling and virtuous life. We just waste a lot of time. And the biggest example I see of people doing this is just go to any library or any coffee shop and watch people work. Every 2 minutes they're checking their phone or they're answering an email and they're not focused on what they're doing. The amount of time that you will save if you're able to focus and practice the skill, the muscle of focusing, you will be able to outbeat all of your competitors if just when you work you turn off all distractions and you set yourself up in an environment where you can focus like a laser. Rule number 4 is to plan for complete failure. Now this is a bit of a controversial one, but the ancient Stoic philosophers said that whenever you go about your day, you should negatively visualize what could happen to you. As you're going to a public gym, you must remember that there will be some people there that will be disruptive. There may be some people there that are going to try and steal your clothes, and there may be some people that are rude or judgmental. And the ancient Stoic philosophers said that throughout your day you should always remember and recognize and be aware of the very worst thing that could happen in that given situation. For example, if you're up and you're about to give a speech in front of a crowd, the worst thing that could happen is that you get booed off stage. The ancient Stoic philosophers said that you should do this because, first of all, if you prepare for something negative to come up, you are unlikely for it to affect you. If you are unprepared and something negative happens, you will be hurt twice as much than if you've already mentally visualized the fact that could happen. Now, the positive psychologists and the recent law of attraction crowd of people say that this is a negative thing to do and you should only focus on the positive and you should ignore and not let yourself focus on anything negative that should happen. I want to know your opinion, so just make sure you go down and leave a comment on whether you're on the side that you should prepare mentally that negative things could happen in your life, or you should just pretend that everything is going to go positive in your life and you should only focus on the positive things. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Rule number 5 is to stare at death. See, most people go through life fearing death. They're worried about death. But what I did was I spent 28 days contemplating my death, and that completely changed my perspective around death. Because in reality, death is inevitable. It's just as natural as birth. It's just as natural as fruit. It's just as natural as a table or love or anything like that. Death is something that happens to all of us. Yet for some reason, we don't like to talk about it. We don't even like to think about our own mortality. But instead of just ignoring this thing that will happen to you at some point, flip it around on its head, use it as a positive thing to motivate you to take action. Because by reminding yourself that you only have a certain amount of days to live, you're more likely to make the most out of your day. And you're most likely to make the right, correct, virtuous decisions day by day if you remind yourself that this could be the last decision that you will ever make. Rule number 6, do less, better. And again, I'm just going to read a quote from Marcus Aurelius that sums up this point perfectly. If you seek tranquility, do less. Or, more accurately, do what's essential. Do less, better. Because most of what we do or say is not essential. If you can eliminate it, you'll have more tranquility. Rule number 7, time is money. If someone asked us for 5% of our bank account, we'd simply say no. But yet for some reason, when someone asks us for a favor, or we're having a conversation with someone and it's a negative conversation that's bringing you down, we let ourselves sit for time in that conversation, or we gladly do that favor for them. In reality, your time is more precious than money, because if you lose money, you can make it back. But every single second of time that you waste is time gone, time that you will never get back. So focus on your time more preciously than you focus on your money. You should never give your time away to something that is negative. And Stoicism takes that one step further and says that your thoughts are important as well. Your thoughts are just important as money as well. For example, if someone insults you or you let yourself get angry, you are letting your time and your mental energy go onto that negative emotion. Instead, you should recoup yourself and focus that thoughts that you're having on something positive. Because if your thoughts are as precious as money, you would not give your thoughts to someone that is insulting you. Because by dwelling on an insult or by letting yourself get angry, that is exactly what you're doing. You're letting your thoughts be stolen or dictated by someone else. And that is a no-go. So your time and your thoughts are more important than money. Reframe that in your mind and you'll be fine. Rule number 8, live like a minimalist. Now, I recently made a video about this and you can click up there if you want to learn more about this, but you should live like a minimalist. Why? Well, for 2 reasons. First of all, recognizing that the things that you buy will not bring you happiness is an essential thought that you must have, because when you have that thought, you're not going to waste your money on stupid things that you think are going to make you happy. Before you buy some new clothes, before you buy yourself a coffee, remind yourself that this thing will not bring you long-term fulfillment. So then why are you wasting your money on that thing? The second thing is that the more things that you have is the more stress that you have. Scientific studies have found that the more chaotic and the more objects that people have in their environment, the more their mind is all over the place, because your environment dictates your thoughts and your behavior. So by manipulating your environment in a way that you're more likely to focus by having minimal things, you are able to focus without any effort whatsoever. So live like a minimalist. Number 9, live in the present moment. Stoicism says that if you die when you're 12 and you die when you're 90, all you are losing is the present moment. And it kind of makes complete sense. If you die now or if you die tomorrow, all that you're giving up is the present moment, because the past has happened and the future has not happened. And in a day's time, when time goes by, that future moment will be the present moment. So in reality, all you have is the present moment. And this is a really interesting way to frame it. And I hope I've explained it in a way that gives it justice, because when you have that realization that all you have is the present moment, and if you die in 10 years' time, all you're losing is the present moment, then you are able to focus and just sit in the present moment in a far more easy and far more comfortable way. Now, the best way to do this is by meditating, by constantly focusing your breath on the positive. On the present moment, I mean, not the positive. Rule number 11 is that habits are essential. Now, this is something that the Stoic philosophers realized that a lot of different philosophies failed to realize. That if you want something to happen, you must do it again and again and again. And if you want to believe something, you must say it again and again and again. So what the Stoics would do is they'd come up with little maxims, stuff like everything in moderation. And they'd keep this in a little handbook that they'd carry around with them throughout the day, and they would repeat to themselves this phrase over and over and over again. Every habit and capability is confirmed and grows in its corresponding actions. Walking by walking and running by running. Therefore, if you want to do something, make a habit of it. And rule number 12 is happiness comes from virtue. You see, Stoicism wasn't just a feel-good therapy, and it wasn't even just a toolbox for letting you control your mind. It was also an ethics, and it said that if you want to be fulfilled or happy in the long run, what you must do is you must be a good person and make the correct decisions on a day-to-day basis. External things like wealth or fame or money, that is all outside of your control. But living virtuously and making the correct decisions and being a good man, that is something that is within your control all of the time. And put very simply, if you can make the correct decisions, then you will be fulfilled and you will be a good man. Now, I mentioned that there was going to be a bonus rule, and before I share that with you, remember that if this video gets 500 likes, I'm going to be detailing and breaking down everything that Jordan Peterson has to say about Stoicism. And if you're new around here, then make sure you subscribe. Now, onto that bonus rule. Do you know what it is? Tidy your room.